If you heard interest rates have dropped, it's a fact, not a myth. Right now, veterans that purchased, let's say in the last year and a half, have the opportunity to do what's called an interest rate reduction refinance loan, also known as an IRRL. Basically, what that means is you refinance your current balance plus any interest and any closing costs. It's the only time you can actually roll closing costs into a mortgage is on a refinance for a VA home loan, and be able to get a brand new mortgage at a lower interest rate. Now, there's a couple things that go with that we're going to talk about. One, you have to save at least 0.5% on the interest rate, and the cost, the savings divided by how much the closing costs are must at least equal 36 months of savings. So example, if you save $100 a month on your mortgage and it's more than 0.5% lower interest rate than what you currently have, and closing costs, let's say in this example, are $3,000, you meet that recoupment period of 36 months, because in this example, it was a 30-month recoupment. Now, one thing to consider that's not factored into that number is if you have to pay any type of transfer taxes for refinancing your property. A good example of that would be Florida. So it can get pretty expensive, while in other states, it can cost you $500 or $1,000. Now, if you have a home, I'm sure you're getting emails, you're getting mail flooded with people giving you these crazy interest rates, which they can go pretty low, but there's a lot of things you need to understand and how to read those, right? Typically, you're going to see at the bottom of that page or the second page of that marketing flyer how much it costs to actually do the mortgage roughly, and how many points they're quoting you to get that interest rate. So those are things you need to be aware of, because we'll get calls all the time from clients saying, hey, I'm being offered 5.25. Okay, well, let me take a look at it. Well, that 5.25 is costing them 3.5 points. Well, if you have a $500,000 mortgage, you're talking about about $17,500 or so in just fees to do that, not including title and anything else that goes with it. So those are things to consider. Yes, the rates have dropped. Yes, should you be looking into refinancing? It's definitely an option. It just really depends on what your loan balance is. That's going to really drive it, right? Because if you have a $100,000 mortgage and you're going to spend $5,000 to save $30 a month, well, that's not worth it. You have a $500,000 balance, you save 1% on the rate, and you're saving $400 a month. Okay, that's a different story, and closing costs are $2,000. Then it starts to make sense. The thing you have to consider when you redo the mortgage is that you're starting with a brand new 30-year mortgage. Now, if you've had the mortgage for 10 years, okay, then you start to kind of weigh those options. Does it make sense or doesn't it? If you've bought in the last 2 years, it's definitely an option to look at, because you are just restarting a very short period. Yes, you've paid interest throughout that time, but hopefully you have a good accountant. I'm not a CPA. This is for education purposes only. You should be writing off the interest or whatever your situation allows for. Those are all things that you need to consider in that whole refinance component. If you guys have questions, the nice thing is that I'm licensed to originate mortgages in all 50 states. So you guys could schedule an appointment with myself and my team down below in the description. Happy to go over it with you. Again, sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it just straight up doesn't make sense to do a refinance. And one little bonus tip with this is that if you turned a primary residence into a second home or an investment property, you can still utilize the interest rate reduction refinance loan to refinance a VA investment property or a VA second home, which is something that's unique that a lot of people didn't take advantage of when the rates were really low a couple years ago. So check us out, like and subscribe, schedule a consultation with us, and we'll talk to you soon.